Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 63rd Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. If you've noticed lately, I've been putting retro games on, RTW games from a few years ago. Well, this game is actually bang up to date. It was only played about 5 nights ago, and I'm sure that all the current RTW players watching this will recognise all the players in this game. As I say, it's only played about 5 nights ago, so it should be an interesting one to watch. The team I'm in today consists of myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. Then we have King's member Doc, who has also bought the Rome Julii faction. And we have King's member Marcus, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. And here's one of our newest members, Lion Dwarf. He's only been in the Brotherhood for about 7 days now, so it'll be interesting to see how this newer member of our clan does in this battle. So that's our team, filled with good players, lots of experience there, but you wait till you see the other team, also filled with experience and really great players too. At this stage of the battle, I thought I'd just like to have a look at my small RTW army. You'll find that this army of mine have only got 12 infantry and 6 cavalry, and the sum total of my army is about 1,300 men altogether. You'll find that the modern players bring mostly 1,500 men, and very often a lot more than that, and have really large armies. This army is kind of a throwback for years and years ago. About 7 or 8 years ago, Brotherhood members used to only bring about 11 infantry, I think it was 3 archers and about 6 cavalry, but their infantry was always well upgraded, but of course it was a very small army. Well, this small army of mine is quite well upgraded, and it seems to do quite well in the modern era, even against really big numbered armies. And as I say, it's kind of an old-fashioned army. And if you notice, my formation as well is quite small and quite tight as well. If you look at it, it's quite a tight, small formation. But I always like to bring this old army just to see how well it does against modern players in the modern era. And here we have the other team. We have OTD Baron, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. We have Heaven's Biscuit, who has bought the SBQR faction. And then we have Wolves Cappy, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. And their teammate is Atta, who has bought the Pontus faction. Now, a lot of you will know that Atta has been in a clan for years and has recently left. But that's but he's a very good RTW player and's been playing for years, so he's pretty good with that, with Pontus. So that's the enemy army there, pretty strong, lots of experience. I'm just going to pause the game here for us to have a look at Atta's Pontus army, as you don't often see Pontus brought to the 31k battlefield. If you notice, his pikemen have got 8 upgrades on, so that's 2 stripes, gold attack and gold defense. Which makes these pikemen extremely tough to fight, along with their massively long pikes as well, which we talked about before, where we have to fight down those pikes to kill the infantryman on the other end. And here we have his chariots. If you notice, his chariots have got 7 upgrades on, so that'll be probably a gold stripe and gold attack, gold defense. Now, as you know, these chariots are pretty tough. They've got a fear factor, so not only have they got good killing ability, they actually scare other troops as well, which can cause troops to rout. So they're pretty good. I also, even though this game is 9.5 years old, I still think the graphics are pretty good on it for that age. So there you go, that's the Pontus army. It looks pretty good. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see that Atta is bringing his Pontus army round in a left flanking action there. And if you notice, he's bringing his chariots very wide round, almost round to our rear there. as he's attempting his flanking action. As you see, I'm pulling my my cavalry back there, as Atta's got a lot of archers, and I don't really want to let my cavalry come into archer range there. Luckily, the Pontus archers are short range, so I don't need to pull my cavalry back that far. But as you notice here, those chariots are a real threat over there to our rear, just waiting to attack. Very aggressive tactics shown here by the Pontus general here. And remember that each one of those really well upgraded pike units have got 120 men in each, so that's a heck of a lot of infantry coming our way there. Here you can see King's Marcus taking his 3 cavalry units out here in the direction of the chariots. Now, I know a lot of RTW players watching this would think, well, whatever you do, you don't really want to charge your cavalry into chariots, but sometimes it can work. And as you see here, he's charging his cavalry into those chariots there, and bang, as he goes into the chariots. Now, bearing in mind he's only got 3 units of cavalry against, I think it's 6 units of chariots here. Let's see how well he does. Well, there's 1 chariot unit routed already, so that's pretty good. But usually when you charge your cavalry into chariots, you might rout a lot of the chariots, but you usually lose a heck of a lot of your cavalry. And I'm just hoping that he's going to be able to rout those chariots without losing his cavalry here. But if you notice that Atta's bringing his pikemen over as well, now that of course will lower the morale of Marcus's cavalry as well, because with all those infantry coming over, his cavalry will note this, and it will drop their morale like a stone. That's why they've routed there. If you notice, I'm bringing my infantry over to try and counter the pikes here, but whatever I do now, I'm going to pull my cavalry back because I don't want to tangle with those pikemen. As you can see at the back there, King's Dock has brought some of his cavalry out as well, but if he's not careful, he's going to get caught by those chariots charging into him. Can you see the enemy Pontus chariots going about to hit him? And there's some more enemy Brutii cavalry coming out as well, so he needs to be careful what he's doing over there, because if he gets caught by those chariots and that cavalry, he could lose most of his cavalry there. If you notice that there's a chariot unit that's run amok, if you notice its banner is flashing red on and off, that's a sign that it's actually run amok. There, and it'll be charging whatever it hits, whether it's enemy or friendly, it will be causing a lot of damage. You can see how he's throwing the men up in the air there, his own men. So it's they are a bit of a menace when they run amok. That's why a lot of people don't bring chariots that run amok, because sometimes they do more harm to friends than they do to enemy. You see now I'm moving forward towards the Pontus army. I just want to get a chance where I can actually pilot them, so that I can cause a heck of a lot of damage. And Pontus' morale is not that good, so if you can battle damage a lot of his units, there's a chance that when it actually comes to the hand-to-hand fighting, they will rout. If you notice, Doc has sent some infantry over here as well, but of course by sending that infantry over to help, he has now kind of weakened his army a little bit. And here we go back to our teammate Marcus here with his Scipii army. Now if you notice, he's fighting the SPQR army here. Now if his cavalry charge hits just right, he could cause a lot of Marcus's units to rout here. And bang, as he goes in there, that's a massive cavalry hit there. If you notice that Marcus's Eagle unit at the back is routed, now that will lower the morale of his troops nearby straight away. Now if you notice, a heck of a lot of Marcus infantry routed there. And his our teammate now, King's Dock, is bringing some infantry over to help, but as you can see now, the SPQR cavalry is smashing into the back of what's left of Marcus's infantry, and you've also got enemy Brutii cavalry coming in as well. So I think all of Marcus's army there, our teammate, has just been routed. So now we're in a 3v4 battle. And if you notice, King's Dock's army here is not in a very good position as well. He's kind of getting surrounded by enemy coming in from his flank and from his front. He needs to get those units that he sent over to the left flank back to his own army, because if he gets hit by cavalry, I got a feeling the whole of his army there in that army there could rout as well. As you notice the enemy moving in, If you notice, I spotted the danger and I'm running my infantry back over here, but of course once that cavalry hits, I've got a feeling that his army is going to rout as well. And bang, as that SBQR cavalry hits, can you see Doc's army starting to rout there? So we've already lost Marcus's army here, our teammate Marcus, after a really good fight. And now it looks like we've lost most of our other teammate King's Doc's army as well here. So basically we've got Lion Dwarf left and myself left here against 4 armies. As you can see there, I'm just going to pause the game here so we can take stock of what's actually happened here. So as you can see, most of our allies' Julii army has now been routed by the enemy. We actually saw that Marcus's Scipio army has been routed by the enemy as well. And so basically at the moment there's Lion Dwarf fighting over here against the enemy Brutii army. And I'm not sure how well that's going there. So at the moment things are looking pretty bad for our team at the moment. As you can see, as we were talking about earlier, I've got my small army here, but how well it's going to do against the overwhelming odds of the enemy army, I don't know. As you can see, Doc's still got some units up there fighting Pontus there. And as you can see, the overwhelming numbers of the enemy now, I think, are going to tell in this battle. Let's say my small little army, I'm running down to try and take out as many of the enemy as I can. But I would think, looking at the enemy numbers that are left, my army will be just simply overwhelmed in this battle. But I think King's Doc and Marcus put up a great fight. It's just really well played by the other team with the tactics they use there to kind of rout them. So you just see my army arriving now. If you notice, there's enemy Brutii cavalry ready to charge in on my left. I've got enemy SBQR infantry and enemy Brutii infantry in front of me as well. So it certainly looks like an overwhelming force at the moment there. As you can see in the background, a few units of King Doc are fighting Atta's Pontus there. As you can see, I'm sending my cavalry in here to help my teammate out and smash. As soon as my cavalry hits her, we're managing to rout the enemy Brutii infantry there. So I'm just trying to help Lion Dwarf here. If we can take out the enemy here, then that'll allow his army to be freed up to come over to help me. Because as you can see at the moment, it's pretty bad. Oh, and the last of King Doc's army has just been routed. It looks to me like a Brutii cavalry hit's just gone into the back of his infantry. So now it's just basically Lion Dwarf and myself left against this massive enemy team. As you can see, the enemy team is starting to come in around the flanks of my troops. There's cavalry out to the front ready to attack, and there's cavalry coming in from the flank as well. So I'm not sure how long I'll be able to hold here. And as you can see, there's a massive cavalry attack going in now. It wouldn't surprise me if that started to rout a lot of my units. And bang, as it hits home there. As you can see, several of my units are starting to rout now. As you see, I brought my cavalry up here in an attempt to try and take the pressure off my infantry. But as you can see, there's a lot of my my smaller infantry army starting to rout there with the impact of the enemy cavalry. So I'm just going to pause the game here. And just to say, experienced RTW players watching this would probably agree that if my army was just gold upgrades, probably with the amount of enemy infantry around me and that cavalry hit, my army probably would have chain routed there and they would have just run away. But because I've got good upgrades on that infantry, they managed to hold against that cavalry hit and all the infantry that's around them as well. So sometimes a small army with reasonable upgrades isn't too bad. You see, I'm going to pull my cavalry back now for another hit. But if you notice that Atta's victorious Pontus pikemen are running over as well now. So there's SBQR infantry, Brutii infantry, and now Pontus pikemen coming over towards my little army. As you can see, Lion Dwarf's cavalry is charging in behind into the rear of the enemy, and I am now charging my cavalry as well. So both our cavalry is going to hit the enemy if we press home the attack, hitting them in the rear, we might rout some of their units.
Our allies have lost their leader.
Bang!
This turn of events may make them lose heart.
And there we've managed to rout a lot of enemy units there. If you notice, I went for the SBQR general with my cavalry there, so it would lower the morale of his troops. And as we hit there, we've managed to rout lots of the enemy troops there. And as you see, Lion Dwarf's infantry now has just arrived as well. So I'm just going to pull my cavalry back out the melee there, and as Lion Dwarf's infantry's arrived, that's great. That's really going to help my my beleaguered infantry there. But if you notice that Atta's Pontus pikemen have come across as well now.
The enemy army is in flight. Pursue them and drive them from the battlefield.
So this is still kind of in the balance at the moment. As you can see, there's enemy Brutii infantry moving out to the back of my formation, and there's the Pontus pikemen moving forward onto my left flank. If you notice, I've still got my cavalry roaming the battlefield here. But there's a lot of Pontus archers left as well, so they're going to be firing fire arrows into our army as well. And as those of you that's watched other battle videos of mine will know, that's going to lower the morale of our troops. As you can see, the Pontus pikemen are pushing forward there into my infantry. So what my plan is here is to try and hold his Pontus infantry there by actually fighting them. I'm going to move my general back because I don't want him getting injured, while I move infantry round to the flank to try and get in behind the Pontus infantry there. Now if you notice, a couple of Brutii units are here, including his general. Now I want to hit that general, so I'm going to charge him with my cavalry to try and kill him if I can, because of course, as you know, if you kill the enemy general, it lowers the morale of all his troops. Bang! And there's his general gone as well. But if you notice that the Pontus archers are firing loads and loads of fire arrows into my cavalry there, so that's going to be lowering the morale of any of the troops that those fire arrows are hitting. So I need to try and take those out if I can. Meanwhile, as you say, Brotherhood member Lion Dwarf there, his army is fighting what's left of the Brutii army there. But if you notice, there's a big Brutii cavalry charge going into Lion Dwarf's infantry there. Plus there's other Brutii infantry attacking him as well, so things are still a little bit tense here at the moment. As I said to you, those of you that's watched my battle videos before, we never like fighting pike units head on with Rome unless we've got a plan, like for instance trying to hold them in one position where we move infantry or cavalry round to the rear. If you notice that my infantry here, I'm actually fighting Pontus head on while I bring my cavalry round the rear. Now the Pontus general spotted that and starts moving his pike unit across, so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use my cavalry in one big whack. I'm going to split them up and hit different targets with my cavalry units here in the rear. So I'm hoping to, I want to get rid of those archers, so that's where I've sent most of my cavalry there, to take out most of those archers. But also, if you notice, I split my other cavalry units up to smash into the back of the fighting pike units there. So there's most of Pontus now, including their general, has been taken out. Meanwhile, Lion Dwarf over there is still fighting with the Brutii. What's left the Brutii army there. So what we need to do now is to get some reinforcements over to help him. And you can see he's bringing over some of his units to help himself there. But as you see, that was an absolutely amazing turnaround there. As you can see, I'm sure you would agree, about midway through the battle there, you must agree that probably it turned into kind of a 2v4 with Lion Dwarf and myself taking on the four, what was left of the four enemy armies there. And you know, I think most of the players, to be honest, probably thought, well, that's it. It'll only be a matter of time until we're dead. But we're really well played, Lion Dwarf there. I thought he played a really good game there. As you can see the dead on the battlefield, it bears testament to how fierce this battle was. The first thing I'd like to say is really well played to all the players in the game. I thought some great moves, great cavalry hits, and some really great infantry moves too. I thought the other team played extremely well. There were some great tactical hits. What I'd like to draw your attention to is how small my army is in comparison to all the other armies on the battlefield there. But if you notice that the kills that I got were, I think they're only the second best kills in the battle. But it just goes to show that even a small but well upgraded army can still do well on the modern battlefield against massive armies. Even when you're playing really good players here. I'd like to say really well done to Lion Dwarf. As I say, he's only been in the Brotherhood, I think it's for about 7 days. But if you notice, he's got the highest kills in the battle. So really well done to him. And as I said, really well done to the other team. Really great moves there, great attacks, some massive cavalry hits. So yeah, really well done the other team, and really well done to our team too. Even though we kind of looked like we were losing it at one stage, we managed to turn it around with great teamwork and some great tactics. Really well played, everybody in the game. It's Spartan Commander saying goodbye for now.